Once upon a time, there was a little engine called Edward. He lived in a shed with 5 other engines. They were all bigger than Edward and boasted about it. The driver won't choose you again, they said. He wants big, strong engines like us. Edward had not been out for a long time. He began to feel sad. Just then, the driver and fireman came along to start work. The driver looked at Edward. "Why are you sad?" he asked. "Would you like to come out today?" "Yes, please," said Edward. So the fireman lit the fire and made a nice lot of steam. Then the driver pulled the lever, and Edward puffed away. The others were very cross about being left behind. Away went Edward to get some coaches. "Be careful, Edward. Don't bump us and bang us like the other engines do." So Edward came up very, very gently, and the shunter fastened the coupling. "Thank you, Edward," said the coaches. "That was kind. We are glad you're taking us today." They went to the station where the people were waiting. Whistled Edward. "Get in quickly, please." So the people did get in quickly. Edward waited happily for the guard to blow his whistle and wave the green flag. He waited and waited, but still, no whistle and no green flag. "Where's that guard?" Edward's driver and fireman asked the station master. "Have you seen the guard?" "No." Then they asked the porter. "Have you seen the guard?" "Yes, last night." Edward began to get cross. Are we ever going to start? Just then a little boy shouted, "Here he comes!" Just then in the distance they saw the guard running up with his flags in one hand and a sandwich in the other. Whew, sorry about that, he said while trying to catch his breath. I slept past my alarm clock. Then he hopped in, blew the whistle, and Edward could now start. Edward had a wonderful day. All the children ran to wave as he gone by. Edward even met old friends at stations. Edward worked so hard that his driver promised to take him out again the next day. "I'm going out again tomorrow," he told the other engines at the shed that night. "What do you think of that?" But he didn't hear what they thought, for he was so tired and happy he fell asleep at once. One of the engines in Edward's shed was called Gordon. He is very big and very proud. "You watch me this afternoon, little Edward," he boasted, "as I rush through with the express. That will be a splendid sight for you." Just then, Gordon's driver pulled the lever, and off he went. Then, Edward went off too to do some shunting. Edward liked shunting. It was fun playing with trucks. He would come up very, very quietly and then give them a bump. "Ow, ow, ow! Whatever is happening?" Then he would stop, and silly trucks would bang into each other. Edward was stopping to rest, when presently he heard a whistle. Gordon came puffing along, very slowly and very crossly. Instead of nice, shiny coaches, he's pulling a lot of very dirty coal trucks. "A goods train! A goods train!" he grumbled. "Oh, the shame of it! Oh, the shame of it!" He went slowly through, with the trucks clattering and banging behind him. Edward laughed and went off to find some more trucks. Just up ahead, Gordon pounded furiously up the line. started up the hill. The trucks knew what this meant. Hold back! Hold back! Hold back! And they did. I give up. Back in the yard, Edward was shunting. But then, the Fat Controller came up, also known as Sir Topham Hatt. He's in charge of all the engines on Sodor. Oh, hello, sir. Ah, hello, Edward. Just the engine I wanted to see. Now, Gordon has gotten stuck on the hill, so I would like you to help push him up, okay? Okay, I can do that. And Edward left. When they got there, they found Gordon's driver arguing with him and trying to get him to move. Come on, Gordon, you're not even trying. I am trying. These noisy trucks hold an engine back. Hello, Gordon. I've come to push. Forget it, Edward. It's no use at all. You wait and see, said Edward. I can't do it. I will do it. I can't do it. I will do it. I can't do it. I will do it. I've done it. I've done it. I've done it. Oh! Not even so much as a thank you. Humph! Edward went on to the next station. But there, his driver told him he did a good job and promised him a new coat of blue with red stripes. Then, he'd be the smartest engine in the shed. However, on his way home, the weather changed. Once an engine attached to a train was afraid of 2 drops of rain. He went into a tunnel, squeaked through his funnel, and never came out again. The engine's name was Henry. His driver and fireman argued with him, but he wouldn't move. The rain will spoil my lovely green paint and red stripes, he said. The guard came out and blew his whistle till he had no more breath and waved his flags till his arms ached. But still, Henry didn't budge. I'm not going to spoil my lovely green paint and red stripes for you, he said rudely. Soon, some of the passengers came out and argued too. But still, Henry wouldn't budge. The Fat Controller, who was on board, told the guard to get a rope. We will pull you out, said the Fat Controller sternly. The Fat Controller said, 3, 2, 1, pull! Everyone pulled, except the Fat Controller. My doctor has forbidden me to pull, he said hurriedly. They pulled and pulled, but Henry didn't budge. Then they went around to the other side. The Fat Controller said, 3, 2, 1, push! But he didn't help. My doctor has also forbidden me to push. But Henry still stayed in the tunnel. Just then another train came in the opposite direction, which they flagged down. Then they brought the other engine up to try and push Henry out. Henry fought back. So they gave it up. They told Henry, "We shall leave you there for always and always and always." So they took out the old rails, built a wall in front of him, and left him there. Henry was cold and cross in the tunnel, but the other engines would pass by. Edward would say, "Hello," but Gordon would say, "Serves you right." Poor Henry had no steam to answer. His fire had gone out. Soot and dirt from the tunnel roof had spoiled his lovely green paint and red stripes. He was cold and unhappy and wanted to come out and pull trains too. Gordon always pulled the express. He was proud of being the only engine strong enough to do it. There were many coaches filled with important people, like the Fat Controller. Gordon was seeing how fast he could go. "Hurry, hurry, hurry!" Gordon thundered along the line. Gordon could see Henry's tunnel. "In a minute, I will whistle at Henry and rush through." But then there was a loud crack, and Gordon's driver skillfully stopped the train. "Oh, what is happening to me?" "You burst your safety valve," said Gordon's driver, walking up. "Oh, dear. There's Henry laughing at us." Everyone got out and came to see Gordon. "Humph," said the Fat Controller. "I never liked these big engines, always going wrong. Send for another engine at once." So they uncoupled Gordon from the express, and they very carefully ran Gordon onto a siding out of the way. However, the only engine left in the shed was Edward. "I'll try," he said. Gordon saw him coming. "That's no use," he said. Gordon was right. Edward puffed and pulled and pulled and puffed, but he couldn't move the heavy train. Edward was exhausted. "Humph," said Gordon. "Why not let Henry try?" "Yes," said the Fat Controller, "I will." The Fat Controller walked up to Henry. "Would you like to pull this train, Henry?" "Yes, please," responded Henry. Gordon's driver and fireman lit his fire. So some plate layers took down the wall. The old rails were put back, and Henry could come out of the tunnel. Henry puffed forwards. "Oh, I'm stiff, he groaned. "Don't worry about that, Henry. Have a short run to ease your joints, and then come back." So Henry ran to the hill and then came back. Once he got back, he reversed onto Edward. "I'm ready." "So am I." Edward and Henry puffed their hardest. The Fat Controller leaned out of his window to cheer them on, but the train was going so fast that his hat was blown off and into a field, where a cow decided it would make a great dinner. And they didn't stop till they reached a big station at the other end of the line. Everyone got out and cheered, and the Fat Controller promised Henry a new coat of paint. On their way home, they helped Gordon back to the sheds. All three engines are now great friends. Henry was very pleased with his new coat of paint. He is very proud of it, as all good engines are. But he doesn't mind the rain now, because he knows that the best way to keep his paint nice is not to run into tunnels, but to ask his driver to row him down when the day's work is over. The end.